Ahoy there, Mr. Squidward. Swab the poop deck.
Yes, hilarious. Don't you have a platinum wisp to get?
Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel and to another Platinum Trophy video. As you can see from the intro, today we are going to be putting on our SquarePants, grabbing our spatulas and visiting the town of Bikini Bottom to platinum the game Spongebob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. This game was released in June of 2020 and was a remake of the 2003 game of the same name. I never had the opportunity to play the original game.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But I definitely found enjoyment in my playthrough of this game. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into our journey, joining SpongeBob, Patrick, Sandy, and the whole Bikini Bottom gang, except Doodle Bob, on our way to our next platinum trophy. Real quick, I just want to give a special thank you to everyone that has supported the journey so far. Y'all blew that last video up to almost 10,000 views and got the channel to just under 300 subscribers. I truly appreciate you all. If you're new here and find yourself enjoying the video, go ahead and smash that like and subscribe button for me. And the next time you go to Bikini Bottom, I'll grab you a Krabby Patty on me. We start our journey with a cutscene showing Plankton with another one of his failed attempts to steal the Krabby Patty formula. The plan this time is to clone an army of robots that will wreak destruction at his command. Unfortunately, Plankton forgets to set the switch to obey and ends up being tossed out of the chum bucket by his creations. We pick up with SpongeBob and Patrick at SpongeBob's house, wishing they could play with real robots. The next morning, we wake up to the living room being vandalized and begin our tutorial section. We are told that we need to collect shiny objects that the robots are leaving behind and start our journey to collect these around the house in order to unlock another room. We are also given the basic understandings of specific fighting moves that we can do, including the Bubble Bash, Bubble Bounce, and Bubble Spin attacks. We also collect our first of Patrick's socks, which is one of the collectibles we need in this game before opening the closet to receive our first golden spatula, as well as our first trophy. We then are able to head outside of Bikini Bottom, where we have the freedom to walk around and choose our next location we head to. The first thing that we do is head to Squidward's house, where we grab a quick trophy for annoying Squidward by talking to him 10 times. The next location we take on is the Jellyfish Fields, where we see Squidward getting absolutely terrorized by jellyfishes. We inform Squidward that jellyfish stings can be treated by King Jellyfish Jelly, which we then volunteered to retrieve for Squidward.
I'll bring back that King Jellyfish Jelly for you to rub all over yourself.
Along our way, we battle robots, jellyfish, break tiki boxes, and collect shiny objects. We also collect golden spatulas and socks, as well as get our first opportunity to play as Patrick, one of the 3 characters we get to play as. Patrick has the ability to pick up and throw items, so using this power, we are able to solve puzzles and make our way up the mountain. At the top of the mountain, we get our first taste of the game's boss battles, where we have to face off with King Jellyfish, interrupting his special shower singing time. We make quick work of the king, earning us the trophy. We slide down the mountain on our tongue, collecting additional shiny objects before making it back to the beginning area to give Squidward the jelly that we received from King Jellyfish, earning us a golden spatula as well as the trophy. Upon grabbing our golden spatula, we receive another trophy, as this is our 10th golden spatula we have collected. The next day, we begin our journey heading to downtown Bikini Bottom. My Twitch community wanted to embark on the journey with us, so with them at my side, we accepted Mrs. Puff's mission to collect the steering wheels that the robots had scattered around downtown. Collecting all of the steering wheels nets us our next trophy, as well as another golden spatula. Our next location we journey to is Goo Lagoon, where we hop on this roof and collect this sock, which just so happens to be our 15th sock. Throughout the game, we destroyed a bunch of robots, and there are actually 3 trophies that reward us once we have destroyed 100 robots with each of our playable characters. We earn our Sponge Smasher trophy on the beach, and shortly after, we switch to Patrick and head to the pier, where we fight a ton of robots in order to achieve the Star Smasher trophy. Heading back to the beach, we work on a puzzle that requires us to smash these buttons under the lifeguard houses in order to redirect light beams at this robot that's on an island. Hopping around the beaches and hitting all of the buttons to connect the light beam to blast this robot earns us this area's trophy. We also end up collecting our 25th spatula, which was hidden under the pier, in order to earn this trophy. Having finished the missions at the Goo Lagoon, we were able to unlock our next area, the Poseidome. Here we must battle a giant sandy robot in the wrestling ring, switching between Patrick and SpongeBob in order to finally take down the robot for good. We end up earning our next trophy, as well as earning a golden spatula and a new power, the Bubble Bowl. Completing the last location opened up more of Bikini Bottom for us, including allowing us to access the Merma Lair, which is underneath the Shady Shoals rest home. We ventured through the lair, fighting robots and solving puzzles, one of which required us to use our Bubble Bowl power and a lot of wit to get this big ball to travel through a course and into this hole, which also gave us this trophy. While we're here, I want to take a moment to say how challenging this game really was. Like, it's a kid's game, but these puzzles and challenges that are laid out through the entire game really require thought and a lot of skill. On a lot of these puzzles, I really had to focus and do mental calculations in order to achieve the goals. So just make sure that you understand what you're getting yourself into if you attempt to platinum this game, and not assume that it's an easy game because it's SpongeBob. like I did. With that out of the way, we head further down the layer into the villain containment area, where supervillain Prawn has escaped from his pod. We must avoid his attacks and defeat him in order to freeze him and safely lock him away again, earning yet another golden spatula and another trophy. The next location that we end up unlocking is Rock Bottom, where Mrs. Puff lets us know that we need to retrieve stolen artwork that the robots have thrown around. We take a second to relive this iconic moment before heading off in search of the golden spatulas, socks, and artworks. On our journey, we end up smashing our 100th robot with Sandy, finishing our Smasher trophy collection. After collecting all of the pieces of art, we return to Mrs. Puff with Spongebob in order to earn our trophy for this level. Our next destination in Bikini Bottom is Sand Mountain, where Squidward tasks us with destroying the robots at the bottom of all the ski slopes in exchange for another golden spatula. Each of these ski slopes serve as a time challenge where we must defeat different Bikini Bottom citizens' top times in order to unlock spatulas. So we head to our first slope, Guppy Mound, where we must defeat Mrs. Puff's top time. Along the way, we collect a sock that was hidden behind a tight curve and unlock another trophy. The next two ski slopes are similar to the first, with specific routes having to be taken in order to beat the record times, and upon beating the final time, we are then rewarded with another trophy. Back at the main area of the Sand Mountain, we have to switch to Sandy in order to swing our way to the top of this ledge, where we receive a trophy. At this point, we have collected half of the golden spatulas in the game, as well as half of Patrick's socks. Each area has a certain amount of golden spatulas and hidden socks that we can track via our world map, but for now, we just continue to play through the normal story mode, saving the collectibles for the cleanup phase. With the Sand Mountain completed, we are next able to unlock more Bikini Bottom, and upon doing so, we are transported to the industrial park, where we discover a giant robot Patrick. This Patrick's powers include having gross breath that freezes anyone it touches, as well as spinning to shoot toxic acid that can burn you. Using Sandy and Spongebob make pretty light work of this robot, and upon dealing the final blow to this boss, we earn another trophy. After taking care of Robot Patrick, we are brought back to Bikini Bottom, where we can now explore the newly unlocked area, which includes the Chum Bucket, which we need 75 golden spatulas to enter, the Krusty Krab, as well as a few new unlockable areas. The first thing that we do is acquire a new ability from Bubble Buddy, which allows us to steer a bubble plane into specific buttons. Testing this power on a Chum Bucket allows us to access our final hidden golden spatula in the game. We next visit the Dream World, where Gary informs us that there are multiple dream bubbles from different characters, and each with their own golden spatulas waiting for us to retrieve. We first take on Sandy's dream, before retrieving the golden spatula in Squidward's and Mr. Krabs' dreams. Along our journey, we have defeated multiple kind of robots, and in Mr. Krabs' dream, we end up defeating the final variation of robots there are in the game, netting us this trophy. The final dream bubble that we must face is Patrick's, and after the multiple deaths that we faced in the previous 3 dream bubbles, it was a welcome surprise, but not a shock, when this was the final test I needed to achieve to receive the golden spatula for Patrick. Shortly after, we end up jumping on this ball to grab the final golden spatula in the level and grab this award. Upon waking back up, we next head to the kelp forest, where we start the level by getting absolutely smacked by this Rick James plant. After this, we speak with Mrs. Puff, who informs us that she has lost students in the forest and needs us to find them for her. After a good hour and a half of wandering around this forest, collecting things, and solving more challenging puzzles, we end up finding the last student and returning to Mrs. Puff to get our rewards, a golden spatula and a trophy. We next take a trip to the Flying Dutchman lair, where upon speaking with the Dutchman, we are made aware that he needs us to go up to his ship and shoot the cannons to defeat the robot ship. We make our way through the levels, solving these insanely hard for no reason puzzles. Like seriously, look at this. Anyways, we end up making it to the Flying Dutchman ship, where we must alternate between Spongebob and Sandy in order to defeat the robots on the ships, destroy the robot cannons, arm our cannons, and blast the robot ship. Doing so earns us our next trophy. Upon returning to the Flying Dutchman to retrieve our golden spatula, we end up getting double crossed, and he lets us know that he plans on keeping the golden spatula instead. Sandy obviously doesn't take too kind to this, and it sets off an easy boss battle. We make quick work of the Flying Dutchman, last swing his tail 3 times in order to defeat him and earn our next trophy. We immediately get another trophy when we actually retrieve our golden spatula, as it is the 75th golden spatula we have collected. With our 75th golden spatula acquired, we make our way back to the Chum Bucket, where we can now access the kitchen area. We are met with a giant robot Spongebob, and it is revealed to everyone that Plankton was the one behind the robots in Bikini Bottom. The only issue is that Plankton made a robot version of himself who is actually behind the robots running rampant. This sets off our next boss battle, where we must use a variety of attacks in order to defeat the robot. Successfully defeating him earns us our next trophy. This victory is short-lived, as Spongebob is revived and bigger than ever. We chase after RoboPlankton and Spongebob's head, and must defeat him before guiding cruise bubbles into Spongebob's brain, destroying the power cells keeping it alive. Doing so rewards us with another trophy. With this finish, we actually beat the story mode and get rewarded with a fun little mini game as the credits roll. This also begins our next phase, the cleanup. I take this time to go back to the previous locations where I missed socks and golden spatulas in the first playthrough. Additionally, I also take this time to speak with Patrick, who trades our socks that we have found during our journey for golden spatulas, as well as Mr. Krabs, who trades shiny objects for golden spatulas. Upon using a guide, because you are not finding the socks and golden spatulas without one, we end up successfully finding all of the socks socks that we had missed before. Our final sock sees us head back to Sandy's Dream, where we must go behind this Alamo building in order to find this lone sock, rewarding us with our trophy. Using the guide again, we end up collecting every golden spatula throughout all of the levels, with the last golden spatula being held by Mr. Krabs in exchange for the shiny objects. The final 2 spatulas are worth 6,500 and 7,500 shiny objects. So I proceeded to find out the best way to grind shiny objects, learning that the most effective way was to stand at this cliff and shoot cruise bubbles at these 3 tikis before jumping off the cliff and doing it all over again. Each time this would earn me about 1,000 shiny objects, so I had to do this a few times, and upon getting the required amount of shiny objects, I flew back to Mr. Krabs, who was waiting in front of the Krusty Krab, and exchanged the final amount of shinies for our final golden spatula. Grabbing this fine dining utensil set off a series of trophies, including and finally, and with that, we conquered another game to achieve another platinum trophy. We traveled through Bikini Bottom, chilled on the beach, fought with the Flying Dutchman, battled a king jellyfish, and took down so many robots in order to earn our 3rd platinum trophy. I will say that the tunes that played throughout the entire game made this a pretty enjoyable game to play in platinum, and even with the challenging puzzles and collectibles, it was a great experience and definitely made you feel like you earned it when you earned that platinum trophy. If I had to say what the hardest trophy to achieve was, excluding all story trophies, it would have to be the sock opera, as most of the socks required you to go out of your way to find them, and 9 times out of 10 you aren't getting this trophy without looking at a guide at least once. The easiest trophy goes to Are You Ready Now, as it can be achieved immediately after the tutorial section once you speak with Squidward 10 times. If you made it this far, I truly appreciate you for taking the time to support me, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment on a game you think would be fun for me to platinum below. After seeing all the support and love from the last video, I am definitely going to get back on schedule, looking to upload a new video every 2 weeks. So until next time, take care.
Ой, меня,